shout out to Dusty Rhodes on that fact. And I will do Dusty Rhodes impressions all day. I just love him. Number 3, Ric Flair. Just and that's the thing is he came from a time and era of cutting his promos. They didn't really have a script either, like especially in his NWA day territories when he would go out there and just do those interviews. Him, Arn Anderson, Tully, the whole gang. They once he would get going, he wasn't playing a character. He was talking about his real life. And his real life was crazy as fuck.
I'm surprised his kidneys haven't tapped out.
Yeah, mine either. He was already lit when I did shots with him at WrestleMania 40 there. So I still don't know who paid that bill because he didn't put up a card or any cash, and I had closed my tab. I didn't know if that bartender just knew, like, okay, if Ric Flair comes up to your bar, you comp him, WWE will pay you back. Like, I don't know what happened there, but him and Dusty Rhodes and their whole talk, just their whole rivalry, just created the best dialogue, especially for that time and era of the rich man and the poor man, and how's it gonna roll. But then he also continued on too in WCW, where he cut so many great promos there too. I'll talk about one of them when we get to some of the best promos. But number 4, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like you guys already said, he had his finger on the pulse of everything. It's still people say what? Yeah. If people, it still goes on to where I think that happened with Becky Lynch just like 2-3 weeks ago. She was getting wanted. And then also just the fact that the King of the Ring promo, that there was no script behind that. That was just him going off the riff and just going off the cuff. He goes off and opens up the entire Attitude Era and gets his whole entire image and logo going all in one promo, all in one. Okay, hold on. We are getting a message from Laniya here. It's looking like I got nothing past 3 minutes ago. Yeah, okay. Is it still running?
It's running right now, but I don't know if you guys want to straight up just start over, because literally I have 2 minutes and 54, 55, 56. That's all I have. Because I had an error. My bad.
Okay.
Do you guys want to start
I
over?
guess
I guess I was. We'll do that at the end.
I was talking about Mick Foley.
No,
I mean,
like
we'll do
nothing
that
was
at the
recorded.
end.
What?
We could do it at the end. Like that can be like the last segment.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Like a recap.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
This is still live, so whoopsie.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
All right,
Hey,
bye.
we're new.
No, it's not us. It's Riverside. And I've been dealing with them like for days now, so I'm not even gonna take that L. Fuck that. That's them.
Probably Hogan's
True.
probably behind it.
He's using his powers against us.
Yeah, he probably heard you talking about him.
Let me tell you something,
Listen
brother
here, sister,
Riverside.
you're talking to the wrong mister.
All right, we are live. Goodbye.
And this is what they tune in live for. They tune in live for the chaos, just like wrestling.
Nah, so that's an interesting top 5 so far. Interesting, very creative.
Yeah, but I guess if you guys missed it from a couple minutes ago, I said Mick Foley, And then Dusty Rhodes. That was probably the 3 minutes, and you're probably happy you missed that 3 minutes, Laniya, because I went and did my Dusty Rhodes impression there for like good solid
Nah,
2
bro,
of those
that
minutes.
Dusty Rhodes was a solid impression. I
Thank you,
bow down to
baby.
you.
I appreciate it. I
I
appreciate you.
heard and saw everything. The audience didn't. And that's
It's okay. I could talk like Dusty the rest of this time, baby.
And
But I'm not
mute
gonna
him
do
now.
that.
Bye, everyone.
But yeah, but yeah, Stone Cold, just absolutely phenomenal. And then this one might be a bit of a surprise, but probably not once you think of it. Eddie Guerrero.
Ooh.
Eddie Guerrero, he was cutting promos in WCW. He was cutting promos in ECW. He was cutting promos in WWE, and he was really good at them. And he was able to, one of my favorites of his is when he first formed the LWO. When he first formed the LWO on WCW and took straight up 5 minutes on air to talk shit about Eric Bischoff and talk shit on Hulk Hogan and start the LWO. And he was real. He was real as fuck. So I love him. Love him. But Laniya, vocally that you're back, who's your top 5? Or are you not back?
I'm semi-back. But honestly, like, there's so many. I couldn't just do a top 5. So I didn't.
What? We'll run down some of your favorites.
I mean, no. I'll be posting my favorites on the Facebook page so everyone can see that. Because it really hurts me to talk right now. So I don't want to strain myself.
Oh, okay.
But everyone check out the Facebook page so you can see my favorites later.
Check out her favorites on the Facebook page, baby. Right on. So yeah, going through just our general top 5s. Now I got kind of top 5 of my favorite promos. Ooh, and like and
Christmas is early.
Okay.
Because because it not always coincides, maybe the promo with it being the greatest, because certain promos are just all unto themselves, outside of just the character. My number 1 favorite promo is Eddie Guerrero's "I'm an Addict" with Eddie Guerrero and Brock Lesnar.
Oh, okay.
I don't like
Eddie Guerrero and Brock Lesnar. Both of them did their roles insanely well in that segment. Brock coming out with the mariachi band, making fun of him. But then he talked some really good heel stuff on top of it too, and backed it up. So he was able to transition it from that silly to serious really well. But then Eddie, when he comes in, I am an addict, and just starts laying it out of like everything. But it's the truth. It is like it is the realest promo to me of all time, of a man who broke down, was carried out, and had his whole world, taken from him because of his own actions, and how he had to earn that back, and how his new addiction was wrestling and pleasing his family, and it's just incredible promo.
I agree. You actually stole one of mine. And just to add to that, is I think the reason that promo hits so deep is the fact that there are people that were out in the audience, that were sitting at home watching this, that could relate to his addictions. It hits so close to home. even if you yourself weren't an addict of drugs, you have other addictions that you might be dealing with. Dude, I literally watched that and I wept. Dude, I cried. Like it felt like somebody opened the water faucets and I was just crying because I could feel the emotion and the passion that Eddie Guerrero delivered in that promo, bro. So
Yeah.
I agree with you. He's also on my list with that promo. So I don't like you for choosing my promo.
Can't hate me for having good taste like yourself.
All right. I'll forgive you for this one.
Next, and I had. Come on, window. There you are. Yep. I just love the title that was thrown onto it when I got some of my stuff from cagematch.net. Shout out to them. Just to get reference to. But Dewey Foley is a 3-year-old boy, you sick sons of bitches. The Mick Foley promo from ECW, episode 126, where he's in the feud with Tommy Dreamer, and that someone made a sign of his son's name of Dewey, but it was Kane Dewey, and that he had to take the time to process it, and then also putting it in with the fact that Tommy Dreamer did get an offer from WCW to go up to WCW, and he turned him down, and Mick turned it into his problems that he had with WCW to where he got let go, and that he had to tell his son, Daddy got the $100,000 a year job anymore. No, he's wrestling for a piece of shit in Philadelphia. Just an incredible promo, incredible, and it hits so many emotional levels on it too. This number 3 one goes along with my number 3 choice, of Ric Flair, of the "I'm fired." When he went on to WCW Monday Nitro, and he stripped down to his boxers and handcuffed himself to the ring because he was getting fined by Eric Bischoff for missing an episode of Monday Nitro to go to his kid's baseball game, and him just absolutely losing his shit, and Mean Gene Okerlund doing the best that he could for the first 2 minutes of that segment, and then he's just like, oh, Rick, oh. Like, if you can get Mean Gene to shut up, because he doesn't know what you're doing. Like, you've got a legendary promo there. But then to go along with that is this one was my number 2 choice, but Hard Times, the Hard Times promo by Dusty Rhodes. It is the working man's promo. It is the working person's promo. It is the poor person's promo. It is for anybody who has had a hard time in their life. What's that?
That was my number 1, actually.
Yeah.
The Hard Time promo was my number 1.
Yeah.
I mean, it's eternal. It really is eternal. So
it's incredible. It's a promo that will live throughout the ages of time, as it should, because it is just everything. It is the working man's promo. It's the working person's promo. It is the poor person's promo, and just all the rivalry that came from that. Again, just one of the best ever. And then my number 5 is the King of the Ring, Stone Cold Steve Austin. as I was talking about before. I watched that. I was watching that when I was a kid. I watched that King of the Ring, and I just was like everybody else of being like, this guy's fucking cool. Like, that's all you could get. That's all you could get from him going off. He beat Jake the Snake Roberts. Mind you, when this happened, I would that was I think that was the 95 King of the Ring or 96 King of the Ring. One of those. So I was like 9 or 10. So Jake the Snake Roberts had been there since I was a baby. Like, he was one of my absolute favorites. And the fact that he beat Jake the Snake Roberts and then, made fun of his whole Christian turning thing. And he was able to do it so quickly. Like, that's why that promo is also so good, because of all the times Stone Cold Steve Austin has talked, he said the most with the least amount. That man has talked on for ages on different things, on all different stuff, to the point that you will say what. But that one he cut real quick, off the cuff, and it revolutionized not only his career, but everybody else's. That kicked off the Attitude Era. That was the gunshot to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you my top 5 in no particular order, only because some of them were just way too good to give them a number. So you already covered Eddie Guerrero's Addicted promo, and again, I'm gonna reiterate, this promo was so raw, so real. The fact that the audience, whether they were addicted to drugs or not, they can all, in some shape or form, relate to it.
The audience showed up.
It was just one of those things that it was a once in a lifetime promo. You know what I mean? It was a once in a lifetime promo, something so special that I don't think it'll ever be duplicated. Unless you find yourself in the same position that Eddie Guerrero was, you will never be able to duplicate something of that caliber, that passion, that fire that he had.
It's once in a lifetime.
Next up, I'm gonna say Stone Cold, but not the 316. I'm gonna say the Shoot ECW promo where he just fucking went off. Where Paul Heyman said, "Here's a mic, say whatever you want," and he just went off. He was like, no. You know what? He was like, fuck WCW. They didn't want to do shit with me. Now this is a new Stone Cold. This is a new Steve Austin. There's no more stunning Steve Austin. This is Steve Austin. Day one. He can wrestle. He can do a lot better than half the freaking
Hogan doesn't want to work with you.
Yeah, so Stone Cold, while you may have said the 316, I say the Shoot interview where he went right off the hip. He pulled that 6-shooter and he just really went off.
From. Yeah.
Now, I know Laniya is going to hate this one, but this was an earth-shattering promo because it changed the face of wrestling. For the one person who we thought was the, S on your chest, cape on your back, American, Hulk Hogan's NWO speech at Bash on the Beach where he turned heel. Guys, I don't know about any of you on the other side of the screen, but never once up until that point in my mind did I ever think Hogan was going to go heel. That was an earth-shattering moment in the world of wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at that promo, the audience stayed and they were throwing all types of trash at him because they loathed Hogan. Bro, like Hogan just betrayed everyone. And that is a moment that in wrestling that I don't care if you're a fan of Hogan or you're not. That is a moment that changed wrestling.
Yeah. There's a lot of comparisons of John Cena's heel turn trying to be to the same surmountable degree. No. It doesn't compare because Hogan was it was the American hero. And
right. However, I will say
I
this
didn't
about
watch that Bash at the Beach, but I saw the Monday Nitro, and they showed it on the Monday Nitro. They showed what he said on the Monday Nitro the very next night. So,
I will
and
say
even then, I was
this.
just like, what?
Yeah, I will say this, however. With Cena's turn, I feel that Cena's turn is much more genuine only because he was the guy that would go out and do the Make-A-Wish appearances. He would do charity. So for him to go this route, it feels a lot more raw than Hogan, because at least Hogan, now especially, we know he's been an asshole from day one. Okay?
Without his turn, without that NWO turn, that's the end of Hulk Hogan's career.
Yeah.
That's the end of his career. He was not drawn the same way that he did. He was over filming Thunder in Paradise when Eric Bischoff and them came over to try and get him over. He was done with wrestling. And he made his turns. He made his turns, and everything. But that heel turn, that kept him relevant in a whole new way, in a whole way that had never been done before in wrestling and hasn't been done since.
Absolutely.
So
my next one.
Yeah,
go ahead.
When the fan came into the ring, was that staged or was that really real?
That was real.
And Hall and Nash kicked him out the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason I bring that up, because that didn't happen when Cena turned heel. So you can't sit there and say that whoever's saying that Cena heel was more bigger than Impact or more of an impact than Hogan, that's not. I can't sit there and say that.
He's not saying it's a big of an impact. He's saying that it's a more genuine, heel turn for character wise. And I can kind of understand that because he's taking a arguably longer established character. I think what John's been wrestling for 25 years. Hogan had been wrestling for 15. At that time, and sure, he was an established character of heroism and stuff, but this one's a lot. It's a lot different. I don't like it, but it is more genuine.
Right. Okay.
All right. So again, no particular order. The Rock's impression promo, where I forget which pay-per-view, but he goes on a tangent. He goes Stone Cold, Undertaker, Ricky. I mean, he goes through an impression of everyone, and I am literally in tears. Bro, I don't care who you are. If you sat down and watched that promo and you watch him go off, like when he goes, drink a couple Steve Weisers, turn on some Backstreet Boys. I'm like, yo, he went in. And the thing is, with The Rock, he gives you 100%. He gives full energy in any promo that he does. He can find so many ways to deliver a single line. He doesn't even have to speak. He can hold the audience. But this particular promo, I don't know, bro. It was just it was something special that he did. He did it by himself. And the fact that he went through all his competitors for that match, I think it was a Hell in a Cell. But the fact that he went through all the competitors and he just did a really I'm goofing on you kind of like impression, I lost it with that. I thought that was great. Another promo, which is a joke promo, and I love this guy because he's a serious wrestler. He is an accomplished wrestler. Okay? But he can do the serious stuff, but he also can poke fun at himself. Of course, if you haven't guessed, I'm talking about the Olympic wrestler Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
And the promo I'm talking about is the "You're a boy, I'm a man" with Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
Guys, let's face facts. Kurt Angle is an Olympic wrestler who could probably take most of the WWE roster to school. Okay?
Yeah.
He won a gold medal with a freaking broken neck. Okay?
Yeah.
96.
He beat Brock. He beat Brock in shoot wrestling.
Now, for him to go out and have a comedic promo the way he did, dude, the audience already hated him. But that was just another dimension that shows how great of an athlete and how great of a promo artist he is. Now, I just want to mention one more as an honorable mention, which I'm sure, I don't know if you guys are going to mention it. Will, you might. Laniya, you might. But the N-bomb that was dropped by Booker T in WCW.
Yeah.
Yo.
Hogan, we coming for you. Hogan, we coming for you.
Yo, the fact that he dropped that N-bomb and he's like, oh my God, I just dropped the N-bomb. I'm going to get fired. He thought his job was in jeopardy, bro. I applaud him because that promo in itself.
And the way Shirley just kind of takes him in like it's okay.
Yeah, but the fact, listen, you could see the energy he had behind that promo, and you could see his passion, his fire, his love for the business. And he just slipped. He just slipped on a banana peel, and he's like, "Oh shit! Bischoff's gonna fire me tomorrow." But guys, with that, I pass along the baton to either Will or Laniya, whoever you want. And actually, Laniya, you said your voice is kind of messed up, so I'm gonna pass the baton on to Will.
Yes, thank you. So no particular order like mine's. This one was, I say, a few years ago. Y'all don't have me on Facebook, but I'm gonna add all of you after today. I do have some, but to me, my favorite promo of all time is the SmackDown Live edition with Daniel Bryan and The Miz. Now, I don't know if it was staged. I don't know if it was scripted, but the way that they was going back and forth, Daniel Bryan called Miz fake or something. Then it got real personal when he went back and forth, was like, well, I'm a coward. Well, I don't quit on my fans like you did. And the fact they was going back and forth, and Daniel Bryan had to leave the set, and Renee's like telling him, hey, to calm down. This is the wrong place. So to me, that was my favorite one of all time right there. That one, it was funny. I didn't know if it was serious. I don't know, but I just started laughing. The way The Miz went at Daniel Bryan,
serious.
I was like, oh my God. Like I never saw that side of him before. So I was like, oh my God. Like, oh man. Then number two, I'm gonna have to say the infamous pipe bomb by CM Punk. Just the fact that, he sat on top of the Titantron on the stage, the ramp, and just started airing out all the dirty laundry, man. Talking about Cena. I literally just went off. He was talking about The Undertaker. Just all these dirty secrets he was saying. And, again, a lot of us didn't know if it was staged when we was watching it live. But the way he was just going in, I would have to put that as number two. Number three of all time was Shawn Michaels turned heel against Marty Jannetty, the barbershop scene. To me, that was a turn of the page where, and you kind of seen it too. They was gonna call it, but just how their chemistry was in the matches, you kind of knew it was coming. And just to top it off, he threw him in a window. So that was my number three. Number four, I would have to say the first time Stone Cold stunned Vince at Monday Night Raw. To me, that was a turning page of this Monday Night War when he stunned the boss's boss. Like we said in the beginning, everybody would want to kick their boss's ass, right? But we're not going to do it. But again, it was just the genuine, the factor. A lot of us growing up did not know if it was real or not. I never seen nothing like that before. A wrestler attacking a boss. Like let's call it what it is. I mean, was that was three I gave or four? Three?
That was three.
Three. So number four. Let's see. Number four, I had it on top of my head. Number 4, I'm gonna do Stone Cold again when he beat the shit out of Sergeant Slaughter. I thought that was real funny when he got in his face and he came out and said like, "Well, it looked like you've been eating a lot of cheeseburgers. I'll bring the shit right to your door." He stunned him and just started doing push-ups and sit-ups. I thought that was hilarious. But number 5, my number 5 favorite promo of all time is Slick Rick. I watched that. I watched that like every week. I watched that promo where he was going in. Lady saying, "Slick Rick, you talking to the Rolex wearing, James Dillon, Willie Dillon, son of a gun." And I got a hard time with these alligators on. I was like, "Oh my God, man!" But right there, those are my top 5. Entertaining, funny, just to go back and forth. Those are my favorite promos ever.
Good list.
Thanks.
Good list. Yeah, Rick just had a way about him.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm taking a small detour here. Have to grab something from the car.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I was listening, but I was also grabbing shit from the car. Yeah, I had honorable mention of MJF and his pipe bomb promo.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to hold on. Sorry, I'm dealing with a cat now.
You know what? I wish he would have signed with WWE because I would love to see him and The Rock go at it on the mic, man.
Absolutely.
That shit would be entertaining, man, if they went at it on the mic, man. I was just hoping to God that he signed with WWE just for him to go at The Rock, man.
You know what, though? The problem I think with that is that WWE would not put him over.
Yeah.
Yeah. They would not put him over, so he would not get that chance to cross paths with The Rock.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I don't know if you remember, but he was in Goldberg Security. I think it was Goldberg Security or I forgot who it was, but he was in the background as security for Goldberg.
Right.
That's the best that they think WWE.
I think that was Damian Priest.
Was it Damian Priest?
I think that was Damian Priest.
No, it was Samoa Joe. It was Samoa Joe because I remember Samoa Joe was like he tried to get ahead of Samoa Joe and Samoa just like slapped him like to stop.
Yeah, as far as I know, MJF hasn't had like anything to do with WWE. That there was there was a slight reach out at one point when his contract came up with Tony, but that was what he channeled his pipe bomb into.
Yeah, because they said Cena was trying to recruit him.
Yeah, the big thing is that he was popular for heel. Right. But his on the mic work and overall work that he had put out in AEW, and he knew how to play it right. That he had gotten a little offer from WWE. He knew it wouldn't be that good. So what's he going to do? He's going to do a pipe bomb of his own, and he knows Tony's not going to stop him.
Right.
And he'll be able to cultivate the actual stuff that Punk, also kind of went through, to where it's like, I've been working for this company for 2 years now, and I have given you every single moment for the last 2 years.
Right.
And now you're fumbling over change. This is change for you. This is the life for me.
Yeah, but MJF is incredible on the mic, man. He oh my God, he's the only person I watch on AEW. I just turn from the rest.
To me, especially of the AEW guild, and with this whole younger generation of wrestlers, he's at the top notch. at All In, him and Adam Cole Bebe at All In, the first All In London, in Wembley, that is one of the greatest matches I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Period. That's in my top 3. They literally retold 50 years of wrestling in one match. And I do think that one day he will be good enough for WWE. I don't think it's right now because they don't even know what they're doing. And I would hate for him to go over to WWE and then not get used. I would hate for him to go over and get thrown on to AEW and get thrown on to NXT first. I would hate if they did that to him.
But you know what? I don't like to bring up Vince, right? Because I think we're gonna bring up Vince a few times tonight. But I think if Vince still owned WWE, he would have found a way to get MJF to come over. He would have found a way. If he didn't have none of this bullshit going on right now, best believe Vince would have got this man to WWE.
Yeah, he's kind of right up Vince's alley.
Yeah, but the problem comes again is how will WWE use that talent?
Right.
No longer Vince's WWE.
You can't have 20 guys that are top talent, because at that point it's like you're gonna have great competition, but then you're gonna have some top talent that's gonna dwindle down to the mid card and to the starting point. So it's like MJF, as great as a talent as he is, especially on that mic, I see him coming to WWE and starting at the bottom of the pond.
No, I agree. But to me, the brand extension, that was the best thing Vince created. Because again, when he took over WCW, like you both said, they have top talent. Somebody will have to be, mid card or lower card. So, that's true.
Yeah, but look at what he did with that top talent.
Yeah.
How many people came over from WCW? How many people came over from WCW that actually had careers after that? Booker T,
Benoit, Jericho.
Well, that's the thing. Benoit, Guerrero, all them, they left before that.
Yeah.
They left. Yeah. They left well before the buyout. They left 3 years before the buyout.
Right.
When what he did with them, and just how shitty the invasion angle was, if he would have just waited 1 year for them contracts to come up and just have all those top talent be on that angle, would have been great. But he didn't, and it's the biggest flop, arguably, in wrestling history.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, I listen. Just like anything, you can't have everything be the top of the mountain.
Right.
It's as that saying goes, it's lonely at the top. You can only have a handful of guys that are going to carry the business. Now, the problem I see with most promotions nowadays, and I know I'm going to get a lot of heat on this, is the fact that it's like when WCW came into play, right? They took the wrestlers from WWE that were coming, that they were finishing their contracts or they were no longer employed. So it feels like some of these promotions are getting the hand-me-down talent. Not to take anything away from the talent, but it feels that way to me. Right. Now, the fact that these promotions have sprinkled in fresh faces, new talent, people that are doing new innovative things, that's the big difference. Don't get me wrong. Would I love to see someone the caliber of, let's say, now that he's been released, R-Truth come into another promotion? Yes, absolutely. But where is he going to end up?
Right.
Is he going to end up at the top, or are they going to make him do the whole chuck and jive and just be there for laughs?
Yeah, like my personal opinion, I like Ricochet in WWE. I really did. But I think in AEW, he's more of a joke. That's just my opinion. I could be corrected, but it's not the same Ricochet I noticed to like WWE.
He's doing this high, this like high-end kind of like arrogant, narcissistic kind of persona. But the thing is, he's not doing any of the same in-ring work that he was doing to back it up.
Right, correct.
He's wrestling more, which is fine if you're good at that part and if you're known for that part. He's the human highlight reel.
Right.
Like, he is known for those big spots. He's known for his high flying capabilities. The man can stand there and walk up your chest backwards. You know, like, and he's not showing any of that off and then getting put in to like really dumb feuds to where, sure, is he getting a better character, I guess, work overall? Sure, because he didn't really have a character in WWE, you know, but is his character any good? Not really.
I mean, most of the wrestlers are not using characters anymore. They're being themselves.
Correct.
Let's face it. It's not like what it was 30 years ago, where you had some guy dressed up as like a rhino, or some guy dressed up, you know, like as a guy fresh out of prison. You don't have that as much anymore. Yeah, you
excuse me, Luchasaurus has entered the chat.
Again, the exception to the rule, but most guys are wrestling as themselves or a hyped up version of themselves.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, we have a 400-pound guy. Let's call him Earthquake.
Yeah.
But you know, it's always that saying.
The gimmick days are gone. It's just the persona and everything that he's putting on isn't really working that well. It's not clicking.
But it's always that saying, you always going to come home sometime. Look at Cody Rhodes, Todd Dillinger came back. So it always happens. It always happens, man.
Mm-hmm.
For some weird reason, people always they'll badmouth WWE, but for some weird reason they come back home. You know, so
that's because WWE's been doing the longest. And as much as that's because WWE is doing it the longest, and they know how to do it.
Yeah,
and let's face it. Let's face facts. Ricochet. I love Ricochet. Ricochet is a great entertainer, great athlete, great wrestler. I even liked his shit from Lucha Underground when he was Prince Puma.
Right.
Okay. But I feel like AEW is not allowing him to do what he does best.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. 100%. And he's one of the many, like, and that's a big problem. Like how you were talking before about you need a set group of top guys to really be able to run the top end of things. AEW has like over 350 wrestlers.
Jeez.
I'm pretty sure it's signed to them. You want to talk about fight for airtime? Good God. There are countless people that have said that they show up every day for months and don't get used, or that they stop bothering showing up because they're getting paid and not getting used. You know, so and it's shoddy business work, and it's gonna come back to bite Tony in the ass. And I mean, it already has. Right. You still got the Young Bucks up there on the top rank. Come on, dude. Like, even the Young Bucks don't like the Young Bucks. Like, they've even criticized themselves. You know, and then you got injury after injury after injury that ends up going through there because they're all so reckless, and they all just want to, you know, get their spot in Tony's little sandbox.
Like I think, like I said, I said this last week. I think Tony Khan's problem is you have to worry about your competition. I get it, but he's too focused on what he's too focused on what WWE is doing. Because you remember when he cut the promo against the other card.
Well, to be fair, WWE is going out of their way to put events against AEW events.
Okay. If you keep on attacking the bear's going to wake up.
Yeah.
Keep on poking the bear, it's going to wake up.
Yep, and that's part of the thing too, is that it's not his money, it's his dad's money.
It's his dad's money.
He's
Exactly.
entitled to that. But how long is it going to go on before dad sees how much money he's exactly throwing down that hole, and gives it the cut? That's what, if there was a demise to happen to AEW, it would come from Papa Khan.
Well, here's the thing, too, though. You got to realize, with this new deal they have with HBO Max,
right?
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, HBO is invested to make sure that AEW is successful. All right. So, so they're going to put money into AEW. The thing is, they have to thin out the herd. They cannot have, as you said, 350 wrestlers. You cannot have any show like that. You want to dwindle it down. Like, I would say give 40, 50 wrestlers. That's what you need. Okay? You don't need more than 40 or 50 wrestlers, because even that is a lot. You want to dwindle down your show to maybe, like, if you're doing a 2-hour show, 5, 6 matches with a couple of vignettes in between. And then in between that, you got what? Maybe you have a singles match here, you have a tag team match here, you have a triple threat, you have a battle royal. So you use your talent. But you can't do that with 350 wrestlers. It's impossible. Now, if you're doing AEW shows globally, like you're doing a show in Japan here, you're doing a show in London here, I could see wanting more of a roster, because you can't send everybody that's going in an American show overseas. You can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's. I mean, like I said, Daddy's going to run out of his patience. It's going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah, and they can only be so invested, especially when they're not doing like that hot of ratings, and so, because that was now it's the wrestling streaming war. Because Netflix was always really icky about showing off their views and showing off their viewership, until WWE came in, and they're like, oh shit, 5.8 million the first night, let's talk about it, huh? Whereas AEW, on their regular schedule programming, they're drawing in an average of 500,000. And then you have their streaming viewing, which I think their first one, they had gotten like 2.8 million, but now that's down to 800,000. So just in the 2 months, they've lost 2 million viewers. And that's a typical thing for this company, is that he loves so many wrestlers, and he loves so many different matches and so many different things,
right?
And that there's no overall arch, there's no overall creative, there's no overall story, there's nobody there to help be like, hey, maybe Tony, we shouldn't have this match. There's nobody there to really ring him in on that shit.
Right.
And it's gonna bite him back in the face. You should have taken Eric Bischoff's offer a couple years ago.
Yeah, like I said, Daddy's gonna run out of patience. Warner Brothers is gonna run out of patience. If they cut the NBA, if they cut ties with the NBA, what makes you think they're not gonna cut tie with a wrestling promotion? Like, let's call it what it is. They just want to cut them loose. You know what I'm saying? We'll take the loss. Fuck it. We'll take the loss.
Yeah, Netflix signed a 10-year, $10 billion deal.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's an opt-out after 5 years. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, and like with WWE, it's a higher profile.
Yeah.
They've been established. They've been around since the 60s.
Right.
I mean, you had them start off as WWF, evolve into WWF, and now WWE. And their talent is globally known. Okay?
Yeah.
You can't go to any other country without dude, you mentioned The Rock. You mentioned John Cena. You mentioned Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair. I guarantee you, at some corner of the world, they know those names. Kids
Rhea
who don't
Ripley
listen,
probably
kids,
gets the biggest pop of anybody right now.
dude, kids who
Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
who are so poor that they cannot afford to wear pants know who these wrestlers are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But AEW is such a young company. Like, all right, you might know Chris Jericho, but he's WWE alumni. You know, who else can you name on the AEW roster on a global level? Okay.
And he was their inaugural champion.
Not as many. Kenny Omega, some of his Japanese stuff. I actually love that match where he's wrestling on like an 8-year-old girl. The girl was phenomenal. She's amazing. But you can't really name too many who unless they were WWE alumni.
Yeah, that's true. And again, remember, WWF was so popular they got sued. Remember, they got sued. They they had to change their name to WWE. That's how popular they was.
The one opponent that Vince McMahon could never beat, the World Wildlife Foundation.
Could not beat that. That's how popular WWF was. They had to change their name. That's how popular they was. I'm pretty sure it's other companies with AEW.
Damn pandas.
Yeah.
That was all Vince's fault because he had an agreement previously with them and he broke it about changing the name. He made an agreement to change the name. He just didn't want to.
No,
he didn't.
It's kind of like Spike Lee with Spike TV. Like he sued.
No, but the Panthers had it first though. And they went into WWF.
Like, I know that, but what I'm saying is that if WWF did not become that big, a global company, what they are today, WWF wouldn't have sued them. Let's call it what it is. They wouldn't have sued them. You know, I'm pretty sure it's other companies with AEW with issues.
They already had an agreement that was breached. It was all legal. They were trying to do it for years.
Yeah,
I didn't understand that, but if WWF did not become what it is during that time, they probably wouldn't have sued them.
Yeah, Vince didn't have fuck you money then.
Exactly.
He had I might shut my doors money.
Kind of like Spike Lee with Spike TV.
Vince already has fuck you money. He was covering up people's murders. I'll stop and mute myself now. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, there's different levels of fuck you money. He had murder fuck you money, not murder the World Wildlife Foundation.
Yeah, no.
Listen, guys, I'm sorry. I got to cut it short because I have to go save the world one moron at a time. In the meantime, I hope you have a great rest of this podcast.
All right.
For those watching, I'm going to find out for sure if Carlito was, in fact, deported. I'm betting he was. You know, we American Latinos have been mistaken for non-citizens. So as soon as I find out, I'll let you guys know. But in the meantime, I wish you all well. Peace, love, and chicken grease.
All right, bro. I'm gonna send you an invite.
All right, bet.
See ya.
Yep.
I believe that was a little racist, but we're gonna overlook that.
So what's the next topic? Because we was freestyling over Vince and AEW.
You had brought up the topic of who the next face is.
Ooh.
Who the next face of WWE is.
So,
which I hadn't given it much thought.
Well, I kind of gave hints last week in my introduction. You know, and I know a lot of people are going to be looking at this podcast, but I may get a lot of backlash for this. Excuse me. I think the next face is going to be Logan Paul. You know, one thing Vince was against, just thinking about it, right? TKO is more Hollywood now, you know. So if you think about it, one of the things Vince was against was having a promotion with inside the ring, like a boxing ring where they had Budweiser and all these different companies, right? So to have that man's company thing inside the ring, right? That's number one. Logan Paul, either we love him, hate him, that man draws attention. He got a lot of viewerships on all his social media accounts. So also, I think the coming was when he beat AJ Styles at WrestleMania. So I think it's coming that I say in probably like a year or two, this man, they're trying to make him the face of the WWE. I think it's happening. I think he's the next one after John Cena. I think everybody else is there and there. Cena, I think Roman Reigns did an unbelievable job. Cody Rhodes is doing an amazing job. You know, Seth Rollins, I just think he can't carry the company. Viewership is down where they're trying to make him the face. So with that being said, I think Logan Paul is going to be the face of WWE.
Well, from my personal experience at WWE World, at WrestleMania 40, and the merch, I wanted to get an LA Knight shirt.
Right.
LA Knight shirts were completely sold out.
Right.
Logan Paul shirts, one stack, completely filled.
Okay.
Completely filled. I mean, just about every other fucking shirt out there. But I remember seeing that yellow and fucking blue shirt of his. And not a single one off that rack.
Right.
Not a single one off that rack. Because nobody likes Logan Paul. I can't see him becoming the face when nobody likes him to begin with. He doesn't throw on a nice guy enough appeal to me to where he could turn face.
And again, it's not even like heel. People generally don't like him because of previous actions or his persona from online. So it's not even like, oh, it's a heel thing. People just don't like him. They're not gonna buy stuff like.
No, but what I'm saying is though, this is not. I think we are both confused. This is not Vince's WWE. It's TKO, the one that's calling the shots. They're gonna pick and choose who they want as they face of their brand. Both sides of the brand, including UFC. So, all right, and then sell his shirts at WrestleMania. I get it. That happens, you know. I've been to wrestling events when the Stone Cold shirts, he still had to stack that high. So again, I just think the way how they setting this thing up, I think TKO wants this man to be the face of WWE. And again, I could be wrong.
They could want that. That doesn't necessarily mean it would happen.
Yeah.
Because the fans have the power still with the wrestling.
Yeah, ultimately, the universe are the ones in the power. You know, and if you cannot get people to just like this guy, not even like him as a heel, that's the thing. He's not even likable as a heel. Like he's not saying or doing anything that like he looked like a total bitch going up against AJ Styles.
And
he looked like a total bitch.
And again, I'm not saying I like the man as a wrestler, or a boxer. I just think he's playing a role. They all are playing a role. I think he's not really taking it seriously, but I'm just thinking that what TKO is, what they're doing for him, and what they let him get away with. Again, only time would tell, but I think that's the next. Like I said, I just think TKO is setting it up where he's going to be the face of WWE. Doesn't matter what the fans think. Because remember, Roman Reigns. Remember Roman Reigns. A lot of
if we're talking like,
you remember Roman Reigns, right? Before he.
If we're talking long term, next 2 years.
Huh? I can't hear you.
Oh yeah, Roman was hated. Roman
so
to me has one of the most impressive feats. He has one of the most impressive feats of the fact that he became a baby face without even being there.
Right.
He was able to do that, but he was also able to cultivate enough of a legacy,
right,
to accomplish that and cultivate good enough of a storyline to accomplish that. Logan's gotten no stories. Like, he gets these petty rivalries that he ends up winning because they like Prime.
Yeah, like, I mean, unless you blame Triple H because he's head of the content, but I mean, is TKO calling the shots? Absolutely, I believe that they call the shots on both brands. But like I said, I just think the way they setting this thing up, they're gonna do everything they power to make sure that man's the face of WWE. They got too much invested in him.
Long term, like somebody who can become a household name from wrestling, and become a face over the next 2 years, it'd be a tie for three, a tie for first with three of them. LA Knight, Jacob Fatu, and Braun Breaker. Those are the three guys, along with Damian Priest. That whole U.S. title match needs to be a preliminary match for a world title match between the four of them in a year from now. Like, all four of them need to get off that mid card on SmackDown. They all need to be thrown on Raw and actually get some storylines going for them that aren't just fighting over the U.S. title. Which, luckily, those guys have actually made it significant again.
Yeah, that's true.
Because when they handed it over to Logan Paul there and part-time champion, that's the other thing too. What it would take for me with Logan Paul, and I think it would take all of the fans, is for him full time. If he actually started working full time and was actually wrestling matches week to week and earning his fucking spot, then maybe I could foresee in the next 2 years him becoming a face.
Right.
But he doesn't, and he doesn't care to, and he makes fun of the fact that he doesn't care to, and that belittles us. Whereas, as the four guys I just named there, I mean, Damian Priest right now, he's pretty much like nobody, and nobody's talking shit on that guy. They're singing his praises backstage, and he knows how to work a mic too. Drew McIntyre, he can be the face of the company again. Jacob Fatu, he is definitely 100% going to become the face of that company here within the next 2 years. 100%. He's already become the face of SmackDown. And LA Knight, they need to. I've been saying, I don't know where the draft is. By the way, thought we were supposed to have a draft
after
and have some. Yeah, I thought we were supposed to have a draft, and I was really hoping that LA Knight would get drafted to Raw. Because he needs to be on Raw going after that World Heavyweight title. That's the workers' title right now. That's the one that it's not going to be put on some elegant pedestal of like, oh well, John Cena's made it too unattainable. So the actual working man's title now is the heavyweight title, and Jay's got it on him, and he deserves to have it on him because he is the working man.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm gonna say it like this: Cena he's gonna retire with that belt. He's gonna retire with that belt. The only relevant storyline when it comes to like top titles will be the U.S. title and that World Heavyweight title. WWE title, let's call it what it is. I mean, everybody knows Cena is keeping it, and
they'll have to. That's the thing. They'll have to come up with another title.
Obvious that he's keeping it. It's obvious that the man's keeping it to retire. He's going to retire champion. That's so fucking obvious.
Yeah. Yep. And they're going to have to come up with a new title.
Yeah. Like,
and you know what? Fine. I'm sick of calling it undisputed. It is constantly disputed. Just give us just a world title. I mean, just a universal title, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Just, I'm so done with Cena. I'm so done with that title.
Because I mean,
so done with him.
Listen. If you saw the press conference after Royal Rumble, you kind of knew that he was going to win the fucking title. They was putting it out there that he was going to win the championship, and that's the thing I hate about WWE now is that the shit is so fucking predictable. It's like, yo, come on now, like should I really invest my money to watch this shit when I already know
it's beyond predictable? They're spoiling.
Yeah, like let's go
it's beyond predictable. They're spoiling it.
When we saw Saturday night's main event, right? Who really thought R-Truth was going to beat John Cena? Like, come on, like that. Like, come on, who? Like, come on, that's just bullshit.
Yeah.
And what Cena likes to do, he likes to bury fucking people. That's what he likes to do, and I blame Vince for that.
Yeah. Well, he learned it from the best.
Yeah, he likes to fucking bury people, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if I'm real surprised AJ Styles is still where he's at with WWE because I really thought they was gonna feed him to fucking Cena. I really thought that, man. I really thought they was gonna
they have him going after. They have him going after Dominic Mysterio in the Intercontinental title, and I'm like, why? Why is AJ Styles not in the considered in a main event picture anymore?
He is. But unless he wants to put people over, that's probably what it is. But I just think it's fucked up.
Yeah. Which something else that another honorable mention, and because we had just talked about him, and he would be on my top 5. Honestly, he would be number 6. Is Vince McMahon. When it comes to yeah. When it comes to cutting promos, I mean that guy was the biggest heel in all of wrestling. He's the biggest bad guy in all of wrestling.
Most of the shit.
Yeah.
Use Vince. He scripted most of the shit.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Yeah. You can't put Vince there.
And one of my favorites, and I had it up here. And then you die promo that he got on SmackDown, to where he just talks just a whole bunch of shit at like everybody for like 3 straight minutes. It's fucking fantastic. And Vince is a piece of shit in real life, and he carried it over into the business. You know.
You know, one of the most funniest promos ever. I'm not. You know what? Honorable mention is Stone Cold and Booker T in the supermarket. That's an honorable mention. Oh my God, when you fucking beat him with eggs, flour, put him against the fucking scale, you know. But the funniest one, like I watched from time to time, it was with the Nasty Boys at NWO when Hogan had him do all that dirty shit. Hogan gave him contracts, right? And he had the contracts, and Hogan was like, I didn't sign this. He said, what you mean? Well, you shouldn't wear our colors. He said, don't wear my colors until I tell you. They fucked him up. Oh my God, man! That promo, that and when NWO used to beat the shit out of the Macho Man before he joined the NWO. No, the way that the Giant picked him up out the ring and dropped him off the top. He dropped it off the top rope on the fucking stairs, bro. I was like, oh my God! Then Hogan came in and fucking did his bullshit leg drop. I thought that was the funniest. That was one of the funniest promos ever, man. Every time like NWO beat the shit out of Macho Man, that shit was funny, man.
Yeah, agreed.
Those my honorable mentions, man.
But yeah, and nowadays, as Gus was saying, you know, now it's not like really gimmick work. It's it's more real life driven stuff. And as we were saying about Ricochet, he's not coming off like how he comes off. Like, I've seen interviews with the guy before, and his now I don't know if they got married yet or not, but they're engaged. But his wife snitched him out on being a super nice, chill guy.
Right.
So where's this dickhead coming from? Because it doesn't feel real. But yeah, I think when it comes to next phase, I'll support your theory if Logan Paul actually starts working full time. But given the fact that he's made fun of not being a full time guy and it's thrown in people's faces, I don't see that happening.
But you know what's so crazy? Because I think what TKO wants to do with WWE, they're gonna start. What they started doing is cutting live events. So sooner or later, it's probably just going to be fucking Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and the pay-per-views. That's it. Or probably a few live events there and there. But they trying to like limit that down. So which part-time at this point.
Which is stupid because even if like as a revenue stream, that's cutting out. I mean, probably not a significant portion of revenue, but still selling tickets at shows, selling merchandise. That's kind of the name of the game,
right?
You know, and if you have less shows and less ability to get merchandise, you know, I'm 100% sure that the people in New Orleans are fucking pissed. I'm sure the business owners down there are fucking pissed,
right?
Because you get that announced, and then 5 months later, you fucking take it back,
right?
Like come on now, that it's bad business, and it's gonna bite them in the ass. But obviously, you know, the wheel will always keep turning and stuff. But it's just we question the drivers now because the drivers are TKO. They're the ones driving the fucking bus now.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah. There's no Triple H,
and it's showing. You know, they picked R-Truth on the bus. We all liked R-Truth on the bus.
All right, so hold on. We gonna go back to this R-Truth situation because I think a lot of. So my thing is this: you're telling me that Cena couldn't save him?
Well, this goes back to burying. How Cena likes to bury. What better way to bury the guy? You know, I'll give him his dream match, his character's dream match on his way out. I'll have him lose. What better way to bury him?
Yeah, that was fucked up. Like I said, Triple H has a habit of doing that. He did that shit with fucking Sting. So.
Yeah, well, you know, and that's the thing is, it also comes down to what he's being told, and like he's on the creative end of it. What the product comes out to be on TV, that's his job.
Right.
But past that, if TKO's going to fire somebody, they're going to fire somebody.
Right.
And he's been around that his whole career. With Vince. Vince going to fire somebody, Vince is going to fire somebody.
Yeah,
you know,
I was surprised when that shit happened.
Yeah. Yep, I think people are still relatively in shock, and and like I said, I can't wait to see what he does from here, and hopefully he's able to do something good. That, you know, and part of me wants him to get that Tony Khan money. You know, but then part of me is also like, will Tony let him do what he needs to do?
Right.
You know, because he seems to have a tendency to, especially nowadays, where he's openly saying like, nope, I'm not like having teams anymore. It's just me now.
Yeah, it's like I said, man, like I said, it's just TKO is the one that's mainly running this shit now. I mean, Triple H is just end of discussion. But they said Triple H wants to keep Triple H wanted to keep R-Truth, but TKO was the one that said he had to go. So it's just crazy.
Yeah. It's because he just came back. 2 years ago at Survivor Series. It was that Survivor Series that it was John Cena, Randy Orton, and CM Punk all came back.
Right.
And yeah, that was just 2 years ago. And yeah, it's confusing. But the big thing now is I think it kind of puts a paranoia onto people to where, well, if they get rid of someone as beloved as R-Truth, who would they get rid of next?
I read something. I read it from a source. They said Miz supposedly unfollowed WWE. So
yeah,
his contract ends like in a few weeks.
Yeah, his contract's supposed to come up in July there, and I think a lot of criticism is held too that if they didn't renew R-Truth's contract, then will they renew the Miz's? Who it's the Miz, like he's been around forever, but he's now the manager for the lower mid card act.
I mean, I
follow and dislike all of the WWE on all the platforms that he has a profile the other day. He hasn't made any statements towards anything else, though.
Yeah.
Yes. But TKO may keep him because, like I said, he starred on the Real World, so that's bring eyes to the product. So they may keep him. They love that.
He already plays an ambassador role and stuff like that. I don't picture him going anywhere, honestly. And that's gonna end up pissing off fans, but in a much more spiteful way. Because people are gonna be like, well, we liked R-Truth well more than we liked the Miz. Why are you guys keeping him and not keeping him? So I think that draws up into the controversy of it as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Otherwise, I think we've kind of hit all of our topics.
Yeah, we definitely did.
Yeah. I had a fun time. Yeah, hope you all watching did as well. Like, share, and subscribe to us. It helps us out a lot. A few little clicky clicks. And then bam, you help us out. It's amazing what the world can do.
YouTube, World Wide Web. Use it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And otherwise, take care, have fun, and we'll see you Thursday. I guess we're gonna come back for another one Thursday. Doing Tuesdays and Thursdays now.
Yep.
Okay, so we're coming back Thursday. Nice. All right, so we got to figure out a topic for that. Otherwise,
we'll use that chat line. We'll use that chat line.
Yep.
All right, take care.
Have fun, guys. Take care.